Hi, welcome to an OSLO video. This video is going to cover catalog lens use in the program and catalog lens selection. So to start the video, I just have OSLO open. It's an empty lens in effect, just a blank slate. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show two ways to enter a catalog lens. So the first one is to start a new lens. You can do this here with the file menu, or you can hit this button, or two ways to do it. I don't care about this current lens choice. Right here, when this pop-up menu opens to start the new lens, you have a choice where you can pick a catalog lens. So that's what we're going to do when we start up this lens versus a custom lens or perfect lens. When you do this, it opens to a catalog lens database, and the database has a number of different suppliers of catalog lenses, and this tends to be continually updated. So here, just for fun, why don't we go to, well, how about the Melas spherical? So all the lenses that they have available the last time the program's updated are right here. And if I start a lens with these this selection, I can basically just choose one, and it is entered into OSLO. Now, when it actually does this entry, it does some kind of default, dumping in some parameters to fill that lens appropriately. It doesn't really put a field of view. Keeps my standard FDC wavelength. So ultimately, you're still going to have to alter the light parameters if you want to change them from what is put in. But this is a really quick way to put a catalog lens into a system. So there it is. So that's just kind of starting from scratch with nothing, and I start a new lens and I choose a catalog lens, and now I have a catalog lens started. So I'm going to start over again, and this time I'm just going to go to a custom lens, and I'm going to show you another way to enter a catalog lens. So you can enter a catalog lens into a system where you already have some other optics with this process, or you can do it from scratch. If I select a surface and I right click, it pulls up this little pull down menu, and as you can see, one of the choices here is to insert a catalog lens. So if I click on that, I end up in the same position that I was in before, where it's saying, okay, here's a database of catalog lenses that you can choose from, and which one do you want to enter? So I go ahead and I pick one, and I hit enter. In this particular case, it really didn't do anything to change the parameters for the light, but again, you're generally going to be changing all those anyway. But again, we have a lens now entered in here. We have a catalog lens entered into our spreadsheet. So that's basically it. Those are the two ways that we can go about entering a catalog lens, and you can imagine, and I'll show a tutorial video that actually does this. You can do more as well. So I can insert another catalog lens in here. Maybe I put some space between them. And now you see I have two catalog lenses entered. All of the choices of changing order and flipping things around can all be used on these. So I can, for example, flip a lens like that. So this first catalog lens just flipped around, and if I select it again and reverse it again, I flipped it back around the other way. So you can you can choose these catalog lenses, and then you can choose to manipulate them and change airspaces between them as you see fit. So there are a couple of tools that are kind of nice to know about, but they're a little bit esoteric commands. One is for lens catalog suppliers, and the other is for users of the program. There's a command called SLC. You can look it up in help, and that allows me to effectively select a lens catalog. So when I go, let's change this to, let's say, Thor Lab Spherical. If I go here and now want to insert a catalog lens, you'll see I'm on that Thor Lab. So that's kind of nice to know. That's just SCL. And then there's another one called MKCAT. So if I take a database of lenses, and this is for lens suppliers, I can run that command and it'll effectively build that into the program as one of the options that pulls up if I select that correct database. So that's more for the detailed people that are actually building these databases. There's a couple of comments that I think are very worth making about these catalog lenses when you enter them. So I'm going to go right here to this laser comm lens. And so this laser comm lens is one that has a couple of catalog lenses already in it. And if you notice, this one's a doublet, this one's a singlet. If you notice, when I go here, I can't do anything inside of this box. And there are these little F's floating around here. The F means fixed, and that means you cannot change it. When you select something and you see things like this is surface 1, 2, and 3, and it's all grouped together in a block, that means that that is a group of lenses. The idea here is that when you enter a catalog lens, you're probably not going to want to make changes to it because then you no longer are using that catalog lens. So the program by default enters them in a grouped mode. So if you want to make changes, you need to first ungroup them, and now you can make changes. Later, you can certainly group things up again if you want to make it where you can't change that module around, and you can just regroup them back up. So since it's not grouped now, there's no option to ungroup. And when they're grouped like this, you can still select element group, but it really doesn't do much of anything at that point, although you'll notice some of the F's have disappeared. So that's getting down into some nuance. The key is, if you enter a catalog lens and you look at it and you say, wow, I can't make any changes to it, that's by design, because if the program by default allows you to just make changes to that catalog lens, you'll effectively no longer be using the catalog lens. So if you order it and try to use it in your system, you'd have a problem. So it tries to protect you against that. There's also somebody might ask, how would I go from this to a catalog lens if I have these three and I have a doublet? The way I go about this is I try to optimize my way into being close to what that catalog lens is, and then I just go and literally replace it. So what I would do here is I would pick the catalog lens and then I would delete this lens out and make sure that my spacings stay the same. So I'm not going to show that in practice, but that's one way to effectively fix to a catalog lens in the program. Couple other little points here that I think are important to keep people from getting confused. If I go in my lens here and I check out this, under the glass there's something called catalog. That's not the same as the catalog lens. That is just saying this is different glass catalogs. So please don't be confused. They are referring effectively to two different types of catalogs. One is a lens catalog that has singlets and doublets and these types of elements in it, but the glass catalog are different materials that you will use to construct your different lenses or design with your different lenses. Another good thing to know is if I go here and I go to insert a catalog lens, note it does insert before. I'm not sure if I mentioned that before. It inserts that lens before the surface that you've selected. But right here, I've showed this in other videos, this little question mark's really handy. If I click this question mark here, I immediately go to a help page that'll help me with that specific window. And I can also type in a command here to lens catalog database, or even lens catalog, and I can ultimately find this catalog database right here, and you see it goes to that same help. So the quick way is to use the little question mark. On the choices here, just for sorting, you'll see you can sort and choose singlets, cemented doublets, or others. You can sort by part number for a different supplier. Maybe you have a manual that you're also referencing. You can look by diameter if you're looking for something that needs to be a certain size. You can also search by effective focal length. In the selection, in the choices of different suppliers, you can also combine a number of suppliers, and then this gives ranges that filter the results that you're having. If I have a specific lens that I'm looking for and I actually know its part number, I can type it in here as well, and that lens choice will pop up. So there's quite a bit of functionality built into the lens catalog database when you're going about entering them into your system. There's other documentation that we have on this, not just the online documentation. There's user guide examples, program reference documentation, and even the optics reference at one point, the version that I've looked at, which I downloaded a couple of years ago, 2011. That one actually will also has some reference to catalog lenses. So these are made available and kept up to date so that you have the functionality to buy and model catalog lens systems in OSLO. It's not difficult to use once you know the two ways of getting these catalog lenses into your system. And there's also a corresponding, as I mentioned earlier, there's a corresponding tutorial presentation on building a Galilean telescope with or modeling a little Galilean telescope in OSLO using catalog lenses. So check out that video if you want to see some of these ideas in practice. Okay, thank you so much.